What's up, man? Welcome to 9-3 TV, man. I'm back. First show of the new year, man. I've been gone for a minute, but man, let's dive right into it, man. The Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons, man, they won last night, well, yesterday against the New Orleans Saints. That was their fourth straight. After a disappointing season, the offseason has come. Like I said, man, they reeled off four straight wins. That was not enough to keep Raheem Morris's job. That was not enough to keep Terry Fontenot's job. Even after the game, Raheem Morris, he looked excited. He was dapping up and hugging Arthur Blank and Arthur Blank's son and whoever that was standing next to Arthur Blank, and they pretty much hugged him right out the door. Fired him just a few hours later. You know, all that hooping and hollering and jumping around like you just won the Super Bowl, that wasn't enough. That wasn't enough, Raheem. But, you know, man, when things like this happen, it's always bittersweet, right? Because we as Falcon fans, we wanted a regime change. We wanted new life to be brought into this organization. We wanted new culture and new identity to be brought into this organization. And so now this organization is in pursuit of that. They are in full-blown pursuit of that. So let's dive into yesterday's game versus the Saints. Versus the Saints, we won 19-17. All right, we only put up 208 total yards versus the Saints, a total of 340 yards. We had 159 passing, and we had 49 yards on the ground. Offensively, that was a piss-poor game. I mean, it was a snooze fest, to be quite honest with you. Hell, I fell asleep mid-third quarter. I'm sorry. It's just hard to get excited about losing football. It's hard to get excited about a team that's going out there to play spoiler for another team. Yet another team is rooting for them to win because they'll get into the playoffs. Everybody getting into the playoffs except the Falcons. We found ourselves in a three-way tie and we get the short end of the stick. Had we beat the Jets, had we beat Carolina, who else had we beat the Dolphins? All three winnable games. Had we just won one of those games, we'd be in the playoffs right now. So, you know, you lost to Carolina 30-0. You didn't show up versus Miami. And what's his name? Agnew, he muffed a punt against the Jets. That was a tight game. That one muff punt changed the entire trajectory of the entire season. One muff punt, and you see where he is now without a job because that was totally unacceptable. And he could be the sole reason why we ain't in the playoffs right now because had we won that game against the Jets, we'd be in the playoffs today. And so, back to yesterday's game, you know, beating the Saints, sweeping the Saints. Hey, listen, man. When all else fails, when our season goes down the drain, it ain't but two games on the schedule as Falcons fans we got to look forward to. And that's the New Orleans Saints. And so we did our job with them this season. We kicked their ass twice. They're going through some structural changes themselves. They got a first-year head coach over there. He's figuring out things. They got a first-year quarterback over there. He's figuring out things. He may be a thorn in our side for years to come. So we should have beat them. Even though half our team had the flu yesterday, we should have beat them. And, you know, there were times in that game where it felt like we should have ran away with things, but New Orleans defensively was able to keep it close. They've always had a tough defense. Chase Young was all over the field yesterday. You know, Cam, he was doing his thing. He was all over the field yesterday. So... Not to mention on the Falcons' defensive side of the ball, they showed up as well. It was a defensive battle. James Pierce, he had 1.5, 2 sacks yesterday. He finished the season with 10.5 sacks, the first rookie to do that since Micah Parsons. Our defense was lights out. Somebody had a pick yesterday. I forgot. I don't know if it was D. Alford or what, but somebody had a pick. But overall, you know, we ended the season on a high note, and then come time for Sunday night football, It was Pittsburgh versus Baltimore. We got the news that the Falcons are letting go of Raheem Morris and general manager Terry Fontenot. So that's where we at with it. Let me go to my notes real quick. So Raheem Morris, just after 2 seasons, he finished with a record of 16-18 as the head coach. Okay. Arthur Blank released a statement. He said that he has great personal affinity for both Raheem and Terry and appreciate their hard work and dedication to the Falcons. But I believe we need new leadership in these roles moving forward. The decision to move away from people who represent the organization so well and have a shared commitment to the values that are important to the organization is not an easy one. But the results on the field have not met our expectations or those of our fan base and leadership. I wish Raheem and Terry the absolute best in their future pursuits. All right. So that was the statement from Arthur Blank. Let me begin with my thoughts on Terry Fontenot. Terry's biggest knock was drafting Kyle Pitts with the number 4 overall pick. His very first decision was a rocky, controversial decision. Most teams generally do not pick a tight end top 5. They don't. You don't pick a tight end top 5. And so that's what Terry did. Instead of, in that draft, maybe picking a quarterback or maybe going defensive side of the ball, you could have picked Micah Parsons with that number 4 spot. And it came out a whole hell of a lot better. But they thought they had a game-changing, generational type player with Kyle Pitts at that tight end position. And then having Arthur Smith as your head coach that year. He was a very run-heavy, offensive-mind coach who loves tight ends. So they thought that that was the best decision for them and the football team. Terry Fontenot, he got most of the blame for that decision. Not only that, but you follow that up with maybe just a year and a half later, 2 years later, you go ahead and you sign Kirk Cousins to a 4-year, $180 million deal. And just a couple months after that, you draft Michael Penix Jr. with the 8th overall pick. That was another controversial decision. That was another head scratcher across the league and across the entire fan base as well. Why sign Kirk Cousins for $180 million if you're just going to go out there and draft a quarterback? That screamed lack of communication throughout the organization. It screamed people being at odds on the decision making. So it seems like some people in the organization wanted to go one way, other people in the organization wanted to go another. That's what it looked like on the outside looking in. It didn't look like everybody was on the same page. Maybe the GM and the head coach might have been, and maybe the owner and Richmond K probably wasn't. Who knows? But that's what they decided to do. They justified it. As a fan, when I first received the news that we were drafting Michael Penix after signing Kirk Cousins, as a fan, I didn't see any problem with it. I knew Kirk Cousins was aging. I knew he was coming off of an injury. I knew that we did need a backup plan. We did need to go ahead and solidify what life would look like post Kirk Cousins. However, that doesn't necessarily mean you go out and get a 5-6 year college quarterback who's been struggling with ACLs and shoulder injuries since the beginning of his football career. And so that's what they did. They rolled the dice. They rolled the dice, and the dice did not roll the way they anticipated it to roll. They crapped out because early in the season, around about week 9, week 10, Michael Penix goes out with that knee injury, and he's out for the season. He just had season-ending knee surgery, restructure. So he should have a brand new knee coming back. We don't know what he will look like coming back. I mean, he was already playing scared when he got hurt. I can anticipate. I can only anticipate him playing even more scared now. We don't know mentally what quarterback we're going to have to start the 2026 campaign. We just don't. Michael Penix may not be ready. He may not be ready till mid-season. But continuing on with Terry Fontenot. So those moves right there were the main head scratchers. Let's talk about the things that Terry has done right. Let's talk about that. Terry built this defense. This defense this year was number 2 in sacks. I want to make another offensive point, but I want to make this point. We were number 2 in sacks after last year being at the bottom of the league in sacks. So this defense is built different. We got ball hawks with Jesse Bates and Xavier Watts. Even Billy Bowman Jr. when healthy. He battled injuries this year. You got Jalen Walker and Jalen Pierce coming off both edges. They had production. They were rushing the passer and getting sacks. So when you look at the notable drafts that Terry has made, he drafted Jalen Walker, James Pierce, Xavier Watts, Billy Bowman. He's hit on free agents like Jesse Bates, David Onyemata, Caden Ellis. Not to mention he drafted Bijan Robinson. He's drafted DeMarco Hellams, who we haven't seen much because we got so much depth at safety. We haven't seen too much of DeMarco. But Terry has drafted some good pieces, some great pieces to this defense and to this offense. He drafted Drake London. He drafted Bijan Robinson. Now, my only knock against him offensively is he really didn't provide much O-line depth. And he didn't provide much cornerback depth either because we struggled in the secondary when it comes to who's ever lining up opposite side of A.J. Terrell. Who's ever lining up opposite side of A.J. Terrell, that's who the defense attacks. And that's how we get exposed defensively. They go after our number 2, whether that's Mike Hughes, whether it be D. Alford filling in. Who else we got out there? I mean, we need a legitimate second string corner who can hold their own because, AJ can't do it by himself. And then, the safeties at the top, they can only do so much. We need that guy on the opposite side of AJ to hold his own, and then we will solidify this pass defense. But until then, that will always be our glaring weakness. And Terry Fontenot, he failed to provide depth. He failed to provide depth at that position. Also, the linebacker depth. Troy Anderson constantly hurt. Caden Ellis, he battled injuries. Devine Diablo, that's another free agent signing that Terry made that was pretty good. Devine Diablo, he broke his arm against the 49ers. And so once he went down, our defense looked completely different because we were left with a guy named J.D. Bertrand at linebacker. They let him nut up 3 games. I mean, this guy couldn't cover. He was decent when guarding the run and stopping the run. He was decent. Notice I said decent. We don't need decency. We need excellence. So J.D. Bertrand lost a few games for us. Just defensive alone, not being able to cover, being on the field in the wrong situations. In run situations, it's ideal for him to be out there. He was one of our best options at the time. But when it comes to pass defense, that's when you sub him out and get somebody in there more competent. It took them about 3 games to figure that out. Eventually, they moved J.D. Bertrand to the bench. I believe Ronnie Harrison came in to fulfill his role. He held it down until Devine Diablo came back. By the time Devine Diablo came back, it was pretty much already a wrap. We were out of the playoff race. I think he was there for that Jets game, just coming back from that injury. But in regards to that Jets game, offensively, the Falcons didn't bring it, and special teams was nutting up all over the field. Oh man, doing all that talking, man, got me thirsty. Spitting right now. I need more spit. All right. So while Terry Fontenot did some good things, some things he didn't do so well on. So whenever a team cleans house like this from the top to the bottom, pretty much, it's bittersweet. It's happening because we've been a disappointment thus far. It's sweet because at least with this talent, if they can get the staff right and the organizational part right, maybe there leaves room for optimism in the future. Okay, so with Raheem, so that pretty much covers Terry Fontenot, my thoughts on Terry's firing. Let's move on to Raheem Morris. Raheem Morris fired after 2 seasons, was not a surprise. He finished the season with an 8-9 record, and his team with nothing to play for with just 4 weeks to go into the season. Listen, man, it's been a long time as a Falcons fan. Not too long, but it's been quite a while to where we got knocked out of the playoffs so early that there was still a month of football left to be played. Usually, we get knocked out of the playoffs. We do. Well, knocked out of the playoff race, I should say. But usually, it's either the second to last week or the last week of the season. Not week 13. You know what I'm saying? Week 13, we still fighting for our lives, but we not out of it. This year, by week 13, week 14, we were completely out of it, mathematically. That's unacceptable. And so that's why nobody is surprised by the firing of Raheem Morris. Also, when you look at the type of year that Bijan Robinson had, and I'll get into that a little bit later, but you don't waste that type of production and not make the playoffs. You don't go number 2 in the league in sacks defensively and not make the playoffs. That tells the higher ups in the organization, this may not be a player issue. This has to be a coaching issue because the numbers on the field is showing that this team is capable of being a playoff contender or even a Super Bowl contender. It's just that coaching is failing to bring all of this together. And so that's the conclusion that they came up with. This team was very inconsistent. I mentioned the 3 key losses. We also had 2 major wins. We beat the Rams on Monday night. We beat Buffalo on Monday night. 2 Super Bowl contending teams on national TV. We put belt to ass. That lets you know the potential. That lets you know the talent that we have. Yet, there's a culture of inconsistency there that needs to be addressed. And Arthur Blank addressed that. I'm proud of Arthur Blank. I am. He made a tough decision. There's no doubt in my mind that he has the utmost respect for Raheem Morris. And there's no doubt in my mind that the players have the utmost respect for Raheem Morris. But the players should have respected Raheem Morris enough to win when it mattered. They can come out and take up for him all they want to. They can sing his praises till the cows come home. But at the end of the day, you didn't win when it mattered. When the chips was all on the line, you did not come through. Y'all couldn't hold it together mentally and sustain a winning mentality. Y'all couldn't sustain a next man up mentality. Y'all couldn't sustain overcoming trials and tribulations through a NFL season. When things got rough, you guys folded. And so you can blame your head coach for not instilling that into you because that's what he should have been doing. Instead, he hired a clown bozo of an offensive coordinator that didn't know what the fuck he was doing. And that's why Raheem Morris is ultimately fired. Because he put his trust into the wrong people. He didn't know how to put the right organization. He didn't know how to put the right staff around him. When it comes to being the head coach of a professional team, it's not so much about you as an individual, but it's more so about the people you put around you. That's just facts. It's just facts. And so you stayed loyal to the wrong person for far too long, Raheem. And this is what happens. And I don't feel sorry for you. I feel bad as a Falcons fan. I feel disappointed. But I don't feel sorry for Raheem Morris because he made a decision. He rolled the dice. And when you crap out, you don't look around at the dice table when you crap out and look for sympathy. You hang your head and walk the fuck out of there. Shit. You know, chin up, hey, chin up, chest out, right? Or you can, hang your head and just nose on out the motherfucking door. And ain't nobody feeling sorry for Raheem. He had to go. He had to go. All right. Now it's time to talk about where does the future lie with the Atlanta Falcons. Now that Raheem is out the picture, now that Terry Fontenot's out the picture, let's start with the GM position. Have y'all been hearing the same things I've been hearing? Matt Ryan is supposedly considering a high-profile position with the organization. I don't know how I should feel about that. I don't know. I mean, he didn't get the job done as quarterback. What's to make me believe he gonna get the job done as GM? What does it lead me to believe that Matt Ryan has an eye for talent? What is there to make me believe that Matt Ryan knows how to manage salary cap? Or maybe the GM doesn't handle salary cap per se in the Falcons organization. Maybe that's left up to the president of football operations. Maybe Matt Ryan will become the new president of football operations. And maybe he'll help lead the way for the search of a new GM and head coach. I don't know. But only time will tell. And the news will come out quickly. Because Arthur Blank released a statement stating just that. That he will be looking for a president of football operations and that the head coach and GM will report to the president of football operations, and the president of football operations will report to Greg Beadles, who now succeeds Rich McKay. So Rich McKay is out of there as far as CEO, but he will still be in the building. He still will be managing the AMBSC sports and entertainment, pretty much the Benz. The Benz, and, he'll be orchestrating all the events that come in and out of the Benz Stadium, and he'll just overlook the business side of entertaining, not necessarily football, which I don't know if I particularly buy that or not. Because they said this, a couple years ago when they fired Arthur Smith. They said, we'll just be moving Arthur McKay. He'll be focused more on soccer. The next thing you know, Rich McKay weaseled his way back into football operations. Am I missing something? Am I the only one who realizes this? Am I the only one that sees a pattern here? That Arthur Blank just keeps moving Rich McKay around, but he never really just gets rid of him. He just keeps moving him around, fooling us, making us think he gone, he out the picture. Huh? Is anybody falling for that bullshit? Until Rich McKay is out the fucking building, I'm not buying it. You can tell me you making Rich McKay a janitor and that he's sweeping floors and mopping ceilings. I don't believe you, Arthur. You still got him in there. That's bad juju. That's just bad luck, Arthur. If you really wanted to demote the brother and you really thought that he may be a key reason to your demise as an owner of an NFL football team, you'd get his ass out the building. Not shuffle him around and have him do this and that and make it seem like he ain't doing this when he really doing that. Don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining, Arthur. Because that's what you're doing. You writing these long letters, heartfelt messages to the fan base. Everybody, y'all can go check this out. It's on Instagram's, it's on the Falcons Instagram. Richmond K needs to go. That was all window dressing. Exactly. So they're going to keep him in the building until, hey, listen, Arthur Blank is just going to ride it with Richmond K until the wheels fall off. I don't know what type of allegiance they have with each other. I don't know. But it's getting quite weird at this point. I haven't seen those reports. I don't like the idea of that either. Man, what up, Fear Wolf? I see you in here. I hope you came in here to say thank you. So the Carolina Panthers are headed to the playoffs. They'll be one and done, but they going to the playoffs. Oh, man. Bryce Young get his ass towed up. Man, hey, listen, Bryce Young over or under 5.5 sacks. Well, I said 5.5. You can't get sacked half away. 5 sacks. 5 sacks over or under for Bryce Young in his first playoff game. What y'all got? I'm going over. I'm going over. He gonna be like a deer caught in the headlights, that Bryce Young is. Yeah. A little small self. He nimble though. He can get around. But it ain't gonna be enough. It ain't gonna be enough, man. Hey, man, Falcons put a stop to the Bucs in more ways than one. We beat them on the football field, and we beat them in the playoff race. Stop them from getting out the playoffs. Screw them over. Yeah. And you know what? We rather fuck over the Bucs more so than Carolina anyway. We just do because that hatred is more so. See, as Falcons fans, we hate the Saints and we hate Bucs. Carolina, they like our little brother. We like to bully every now and again. Sometimes they get the best of us, but we really ain't worried about them. They kind of like, little brother to us. They really ain't. They harmless. They really. That's how we view Carolina. Oh, they harmless. No scrappy. We ain't too worried about them. But the fuck over Tampa Bay and New Orleans, we got to fuck over Tampa Bay and New Orleans in one game. That was the greatest thing about yesterday. We got to fuck people over, man. And we took the all-time lead over the head-to-head versus New Orleans and Atlanta. So I think it's now, 57-56 or something like that, or 58-57. But yeah, man, we took a one-game lead in that overall head-to-head. Hey, man, so rise up for that. Rise up, Atlanta. Shit, we one game better than our most hated rival. Fuck the Saints. Woo! Yeah, man, we gonna be sacking the shit out of Tyler Shook for years to come, man, because that boy James Pierce ain't playing with y'all's ass. So, yeah, man, this NFC South division, it's a wacky one. But, people love to say, that we are, the weakest division in football and we the softest division. We might just be the best division. We probably the best division in football, y'all. We so good. We just beat each other up all the time to where by the end of the season, we got a losing record. That's how good we is as a division. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So, but yeah, man, I'm just trying to make light of a messy situation, man. Dude, with the talent that we have on the field and with Bijan Robinson doing what he's doing, and this defense, number 2 in sacks, man, and we still can't find a way to win more than 8 games. Come on, y'all. This should have been a 10, 11 win season. With or without Michael Penix. This should have been a 10 or 11 win season. And people can talk about, oh, well, if Kirk Cousins had started from the get-go or what have you, we would be a 10, 11 win team. People say that, but I dis-a-damn-agree. Ain't no way in the hell y'all can convince me that Kirk Cousins was going to overcome bad offensive coordinating by Zach Robinson, especially not having a legit number 2 wide receiver out there, because Darnell Mooney, he was non-existent all year long. I mean, that shoulder injury in training camp had to be gruesome. Shoulder must have almost fell off because he was never the same since training camp and when he sustained that injury. So whether or not he's coming back, I don't know. I'd have to dive into the numbers and see if they gonna have to, if he's looking for a new contract, or they gonna release him, or if he gonna come back for another year. I don't know. He's still a good piece when healthy. We saw what he could do last year, but this year, well, the scheme might have been different because our starting O-line, our right tackle Caleb McGarry, that's Michael Penix's blind side, and so when he went down, that changed everything. And we saw it on the field. Elijah Wilkinson is not the answer. Elijah Wilkinson is not the answer. But we had to make do with what we had. Terry couldn't make a move. And so when Kirk Cousins comes in, and now his blind side is the other guy, Chris Lindstrom, and the other guy, that's a hell of a lot better protection. It just is. And so, he can see what's coming at him. He knows when to get the ball out. And, things did change schematically. I think Kirk Cousins and his experience allowed Zach Robinson to really open up the playbook. And I will give Zach credit for that. He did begin to open up the playbook a little bit more. Right, Michael Penix is a lefty. Yeah, so that's the point I was trying to make. Because Michael Penix is a lefty, and his blind side right tackle went out for the season. And so that hurt us. It didn't necessarily hurt our run game as much, but it definitely hurt our passing protection. So, schematically there was some differences. But, offensively, it's time for a totally different regime. Should we keep Ulbrich as defensive coordinator? I guess it's up to our new head coach. So about the coordinators, I'm glad you brought that up. Typically, when the head coach is fired, everybody goes with him. I mean, just like when Arthur Smith was let go his final season, I wanted us to keep our defensive coordinator for that last season. Ryan Nielsen. I mean, he had our defense playing good. The best I had seen in years. Now, this defense that we have now is better than that. So, I would love for Jeff Ulbrich to stay. I would have even entertained Jeff Ulbrich being promoted. But when the head coach leaves, the staff leaves with him. And so they'll bring in a new head coach. He'll bring in his network of coaches. Listen, man, this is a buddy league. All right? People gonna bring in their buddies. Raheem brought in his buddy Zach. The next coach gonna bring in his goddamn buddy. Just bring in your smart buddies. Don't bring in your dumb, unproven, illegitimate buddies. Bring in some proven, bring in some OGs, bring in some real mentors, some people that helped you along the way, some people that helped you get to where you are. Whoever the new head coach is, this is the mentality he needs to have. Whoever helped me and prepared me to get to where I am and gave me the knowledge and things that I know that have worked, that have been proven, I need to see if I can elevate them to be on my staff and bring them around me. Because you see what Arthur Smith did. Arthur Smith, first year's head coach, he knew he was an offensive mind. His plan was, okay, who do I get defensively? He goes and gets somebody out of retirement. Dean Pease. Dean Pease was chilling, retired, Super Bowl ring, successful, proven. He knows defense. Called his ass up off the couch. Hey man, put the goddamn popcorn and hoagies down and come coach defense for the Atlanta Falcons. We suck. This ought to be fun for you. Dean Pease was like, shit, I like building defenses. All right, sign me up. I'll retire in a couple of years anyway. I'll give you a couple of years. Dean Pease came in, did the best he could with a piss poor, sorry ass defense. Dean Pease just didn't have the guys. He had the scheme. He doesn't have the guys. Man, I wonder what Dean Pease would do with this defense right here, right now. But yeah, man, that's what it all boils down to. That's what it's going to have to take. I'm very excited to see where this offseason goes. I'm very excited to see who's going to be the new GM, who's going to be the new head coach, the president of football operations. I want to see. The draft is not going to be exciting at all because we don't have a first round pick. But I do want to see how this new GM comes in and makes decisions, the eye for talent that he may or may not have. It's going to be very interesting to see. And just because we are anticipating change doesn't mean it's good change. They may make the wrong decision again. And so, J.J. McCarthy, either Josh Allen or Jamarcus Russell with Andrew Luck's help, I guess. But listen, man, y'all stay tuned. I'm gonna stay locked in, man. This is the first live show of the new year. This year I will be a lot more consistent, man. No excuses. Coming at y'all live at least 2 or 3 times a week, man. We're gonna chop it up and talk about these Falcons. Every now and again I have people come on, man. Y'all can help me co-host, man, and help me blow this thing up. I'm kind of glad I get a fresh start. I got the whole off season to prepare and elevate, and y'all get to watch me elevate. Y'all get to watch me grow. You know, I don't have all the equipment I want to have, but man, I'm working towards it. So y'all make sure y'all hit the follow button. Follow me on all platforms. 93 TV. Man, rise up, baby. I'm out. Sorry for Raheem. He had to go. All right.